Did the Giants' young players take a leap in the latest farm system rankings? Let's talk about it right here on Locked On Giants.
You are Locked On Giants, your daily San Francisco Giants podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, y'all? I'm Alan Sowles. Welcome to Locked On Giants, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Now, thanks to you, the #1 sports podcast network. On the show, we provide daily episodes, Monday through Friday, talking about the San Francisco Giants in a way that combines passion, analytics with the eye test, and a little bit of fun. I'm from the Bay, but I live in Sacramento now, and I host a show on Sacktown Sports 1140, as well as emceeing Sacramento Rivercast games. All in all, I'm lucky enough to cover a team I've been a fan of all my life. Today, we are discussing the new prospect rankings, as well as the farm system rankings from MLB Pipeline, who's number one, number two, as far as the Giants prospects, as well as the farm systems. The Giants bullpen suffering some injuries, already in trouble. And could Luis Arraez be the X factor heading into the 2026 season? This episode is brought to you by MLB The Show. Visit MLBtheshow.com/lockedon and use code LOCKEDON to unlock a pack for use in Diamond Dynasty. Pre-order now, available March 17th on PlayStation 5, Xbox, and Nintendo Switch. Rated E for everyone. All right, now this is what we've all been waiting for. At least this is what I've been waiting for. No disrespect to the 2026 season, which is upon us, but you know me, I love my prospects and I love my prospect rankings, and MLB Pipeline finally came out with their latest ranking. So I think we should start with where the farm system is, and then we will get into exactly who is ranked where within the Giants farm system specifically. So there's a new #1 in farm system rankings, and that new #1 is the Milwaukee Brewers. That's right. It is not the San Francisco Giants. You got to keep scrolling to find the San Francisco Giants. And somehow, some way, I'm not sure how this happened, the Giants signed the #1 prospect, the #1 international prospect in Luis Hernandez, but the Giants actually dropped one spot from the mid-season rank. They were 18 back in April, and now they are 19. Well, how did that happen? I'm not quite sure. The Giants made the fourth biggest jump from our pre-2025 rankings, moving up 9 spots, and they're poised for another leap this season. They have the game's best power prospect in Eldridge and the top international amateur from each of the past 2 classes in Gonzalez and fellow shortstop Luis Hernandez. Their group of potential top 100 shortstops also extends to Johnny Level and Gavin Keelan. And they have several other candidates to join the list in the near future, including outfielders Dakota Jordan and Bo Davidson and left-hander Jacob Bresnahan. Now, what it sounds like to me is that the Giants don't have enough guys. This is all based on top 100 prospects. So that's how they do the rankings. So I was going back and forth with some Giants fans yesterday. This isn't actually about what the Giants have done or haven't done. This is about what other teams have done and the leaps that their players that are already in the top 100 have done, or maybe they are now in the top 100, because as of right now for the Giants, they only have, 2 guys, okay? So if you go back up to the Brewers, I would assume that they have a ton of guys in the top 100, as the Giants only have 2, and the Brewers, they have 5, all right? They have 5 guys, top 100 prospects. To the Los Angeles Dodgers, I believe they were #1 prior to this last ranking. The Dodgers have 5 prospects as well in the top 100 prospects, as well as I think the Pirates actually have 6. The Pirates have 6, but they're behind the Dodgers and the Brewers. So when I saw that, and you got to go all the way down back to 19, when I saw that, it made me feel less annoyed about what's going on, even right in front of the Giants. The A's are at 18. They have 4 guys in the top 100. The Nationals have 4 guys in the top 100 as well. So that's why the Giants are where they are. So now that I say that out loud, I guess I'm a little less annoyed about it, and I understand why they're headed in that direction. They're heading in a good direction for sure. Now let's look at the prospect rankings. Obviously, once you play a certain amount of games, you're no longer a prospect. Well, Bryce Eldridge hasn't played that amount of games yet. He is still a prospect, and he is still the number one prospect. Josuar Gonzalez is number 2. Luis Hernandez, they already have him number 3. And there are a lot of notes on Luis Hernandez, how he might skip the Dominican League and go straight to the States, which is not something that happens very often. So people are really high on this guy. We're also going to talk about the spring breakout game where we might get to see some of these players, and it'll be televised as well. So that'll be really cool. So I want to compare this as we go through the top 10. We got Bryce Eldridge at 1, Josuar Gonzalez at 2, Luis Hernandez at 3, Johnny Level at 4, Gavin Keelan at 5, Dakota Jordan at 6, Bo Davidson at 7, Jacob Bresnahan at 8, Trevor Cohen at 9, Blade Tidwell at 10, which is interesting about Johnny Level, because if I'm not mistaken, I don't know about injury or anything like that, but Johnny Level, we haven't really seen him as much. Now, here's the difference. Johnny Level, as far as spring training, but here's the difference. Johnny Level, as far as being a non-roster invitee, he's still only 18. Right? Gavin Keelan is 21. So there's a part of that as well. And Dakota Jordan obviously is 22. Bo Davidson is 23. So let's compare that to last season. So last season's top 25 looked a bit different. As we've mentioned, once guys get to a certain age or have been in the league for a certain amount of time, you had Bryce Eldridge number 1, Carson Whisenhunt number 2, Josuar Gonzalez number 3, James Tibbs the third at number 4. He's no longer on the Giants. Johnny Level number 5, Dakota Jordan number 6, Joe Whitman number 7, Rainer Arias at 8, Bo Davidson at 9, Trevor McDonald at 10. So I'm assuming maybe Trevor, some of these guys are just no longer considered prospects. So yeah, you have a lot of changes here. Bresnahan is still there. Obviously, Bo Davidson and Dakota Jordan moved up. You got Gavin Keelan right there. Some of the names are, have moved on. Carson Whisenhunt is still a prospect. That's a bit surprising to me. I'd assume this will be his last season there. Trevor McDonald actually dropped down. He's now 16 as far as prospects are concerned, but both those guys are 25 years old. So you would think that, they're going to be leaving the prospect conversation fairly soon here. Another guy who's already 24, even though a lot of us like him, and, it took him a different path after playing at UNC. I know we've talked about Parks Harbor. He's already 24, so I wouldn't be surprised if they fast track him, try to get him to AAA this season, because, being a 24-year-old prospect, especially when you're not a pitcher, you probably want to get that going pretty soon here and get him at least some pretty solid AAA action before he gets to 25, and then obviously is starting to hit his later 20s as far as those years are concerned. So that's where the Giants are at. You see Luis Hernandez fly up. You see a couple other guys fly up this quickly. That's really exciting, man. That's really exciting. Now, you do want to see them on the top 100 list more than we see them now, but this is going to be a crazy season for all of them. So just to do a side-by-side comparison between 2025. Now, you have the difference here, and I just have them pulled up. Yeah, Carson Whisenhunt dropped, but some of that also is where are you as a prospect versus a player. You have Johnny Level was at 4 or at 5 in 2025. Now he's at 6. You have, like I said, James Tibbs the third is no longer on the Giants. Josuar Gonzalez moved up to 2. He was at 3 last season. You have Dakota Jordan was at 6 last season. He's still at 6. Bo Davidson was at 9. He is now at 7. Jacob Bresnahan last season, you got to keep scrolling to even find him. He was 24, and now he's at 8. So that's a huge jump for Jacob Bresnahan. Trevor Cohen, let's see where he was at. Trevor Cohen is not even on this list. So Trevor Cohen is now number 9. He wasn't even on this list. He's 22 years old. His ETA is 2028. He's an outfielder. You have Blade Tidwell at number 10, and then obviously Blade Tidwell did not start the season with the Giants. Yeah, some guys that we may have seen for the last time Wade Meckler was 14 in 2025. I really like Wade Meckler. It's just kind of a tough sledding with him as far as what he's going to be. He's gone now. He's with the Angels. So a couple of these guys, are gone that were with the Giants in 2025. So it's a solid group. It's definitely a solid group. We just hope that they continue to improve. And I think that's one thing that we've learned, whether it's via the rankings or some of the trade conversations we've had. People don't really care about where a prospect is on a team's prospect list. It's all about the top 100. It's all about the top 100 in baseball. When you're talking about trades and value, it's all about the top 100 in baseball. And that's how your prospect and farm system, how they get ranked higher, how they get viewed differently. And I would say the good thing about when your system does raise, even if it's just because of 4 or 5 top 100 guys, now everything gets looked at in a different light. Now everything gets looked at, okay, well, now I am looking at your number 10 prospect a little bit differently. Just because you have the number 7 ranked prospect system, it might be getting carried by 5 top 100 guys, but it still seems to look a different way and feel a different way. 19 is not great. And that doesn't make me feel very good when we start talking about the Giants and different trades that they might try to get into during the regular season. Now, you can always include actual players. I'm not going to throw out any names because I know we're in the hope mode right now and I don't want to upset anybody. So I'm not going to throw out any names, but it does feel like if the Giants are going to get anything done, at least right now, right, during the midseason rankings, if somebody starts out really, really hot, again, not going to say names for the prospects because I don't want to lose any prospects, but if somebody starts out really hot, as far as the prospects are concerned as well, you could also flip that and say, okay, well, now we are going to, move this guy who's having a really good summer or a really good spring or a really good season and go from there. So I would say it doesn't feel positive because the Giants did drop from the spring kind of rankings, but the bones are there to make another big leap in the very near future. So I definitely think it's a positive. We're just not seeing it quite yet. Let's get to the next segment. The Giants bullpen already in trouble. Maybe they can bring up some prospects and that'll help. We'll tell you what's going on. More Locked On Giants coming up. Workplace chaos, deadline stacking up, inbox overflowing, and the one position you have to fill still sitting open. When the pressure's on and you need the right hire, this is a job for Sponsored Jobs. Indeed Sponsored Jobs helps you reach the people who actually fit what you're looking for. Skills, experience, location, so you're not just hoping the right candidate stumbles across your post. And here's a stat that says it all. In the minute I've been talking to you, companies like yours made 27 hires on Indeed, according to Indeed data worldwide. So if you're hiring, spend less time searching and more time interviewing candidates who check all your boxes with Indeed Sponsored Jobs. Spend less time searching and more time actually interviewing candidates who check all your boxes. Less stress, less time, more results. When you need the right person to cut through the chaos, this is the job for Indeed Sponsored Jobs. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to help get your job the premium status it deserves at Indeed.com/podcast. Just go to Indeed.com/podcast right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? This is a job for Indeed Sponsored Jobs. College basketball is nonstop. Big games, tight spreads, momentum swings every single night. From early tip-offs to late-night West Coast shootouts, there's always action on the board. And now, FanDuel is giving you a way to turn that energy into even bigger potential wins with the College Basketball Parlay Profit Boost. You can build any college hoops parlay you want. Rivalry games, ranked matchups, whatever fits my read. You can mix spreads, totals, and player props to match how you see the slate playing out. Then you can apply the Profit Boost and instantly bump up the potential payout. Go safe, go bold, ride with the team you've been following all season. It's your parlay, your style, now with more upside behind it. Head to FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com. FanDuel, play your game. Next segment with you, and it's not looking good. So far for the Giants, they already had a thin bullpen, and it is looking even thinner with some of the injuries that they are already accumulating. This is from Susan Slusser. That wide open competition in the Giants bullpen is midway through the spring, a little light in left-handed options. Reaver San Martin, the former Reds reliever, incurred a right hip flexor injury in Team Colombia's exhibition game against the Pirates on Tuesday in Miami, and he is not expected to return to the event. Now, before we get into what that could be, obviously I'm not a doctor, but these guys, they're not going to take any chances, especially when it comes to the World Baseball Classic as far as playing through injuries. Okay? So I just wanted to say that. The lefty incurred the injury covering first base on a grounder, and he was scheduled to see Giants orthopedist Dr. Ken Akizuki on Wednesday. Quote, I think the WBC is a wash for him. I'm sure he's a little bit disheartened or heartbroken about that piece of it. Manager Tony Vitello said, noting that San Martin can at least keep his arm strength up while recovering, and hopefully that will make things go a little quicker when his lower half is where it needs to be. The only healthy left-handed reliever on the 40-man roster is Matt Gage, but Eric Miller is likely to be pitching in games next week. Lefty Sam Henches is throwing off the mound, but has yet to face hitters. He's coming back from that shoulder surgery. He could be available in April if he isn't ready for opening day. So that's a problem. Okay, I mean, that's a problem. Then you have Jason Foley, who won't be ready as well as he is having shoulder surgery. Tony Vitello says it might provide an opportunity for somebody who wasn't normally going to get one, and then you end up with more depth. That's a very positive way to look at it, Manager Vitello, a very, very positive way. For now, we're letting these guys get as many opportunities as they can to show what they can do, and then we're trying to sort out who belongs where. Among the relievers who have impressed are swingman type Trevor McDonald, who might be emerging from the group of young starters that are trying to get a long man spot. Non-roster pitchers Caleb Killian, Michael Fulmer, Gregory Santos, Will Bednar, and one lefty, Juan Sanchez. Asked about Sanchez, who hasn't allowed a run in 3 appearances, Vitello said, from my perspective, expectations have been exceeded. Now let's get to everyone's favorite, Ryan Walker, who is looking at that closer role, threw in a minor league simulated game on Wednesday, as it hated Burnsong, who might be in the mix for the long man spot if he irons out the control difficulties he's had in June. In the controlled conditions of a simulated game, Walker threw 23 pitches and recorded 7 outs in his 1 inning. Birdsong worked 2 innings. Vitello said the second was definitely exciting because Birdsong was efficient and showed a good pitch mix. All right, we'll take that. We'll take it. Last but not least, Robbie Ray went 2 2/3 innings in Wednesday's 9-4 defeat of Seattle, allowing 2 hits and a walk and a run, throwing 50 pitches in his 3rd outing of the spring. He said he's further locked in his old delivery he'd been searching for the past 2 years. Things I'm working on have translated into games. I'm getting over my front side really well, and I just feel normal, like I'm not forcing it. I'm really happy with it. Seattle's Cooper Criswell hit Luis Matos in the helmet. Oh, this is just Susan getting into some other stuff. Yeah, that was a bit scary when he got hit. Matos stayed down, but did end up remaining in the game. Great stuff from Susan, as always. This isn't great, people. This isn't great. Whenever you have a situation where you're discussing bullpen depth being an issue when you already thought you'd have bullpen depth as an issue prior to injuries, not great timing. So somebody's going to have to step up, and somebody's going to have to step up in a big way. And some of the names that we've seen, as Susan has thrown out, the Michael Fulmers of the world, that pitcher in particular, he's got a decent bit of major league experience. Somebody's going to have to step up. Some of these young guys, I'm just getting really worried about continuing to do the thing with Hayden Birdsong until we see it in a real game. You know, when it comes to these simulated games, I just need to see him with a team that is wearing a different jersey. That's where I need to see him actually do what he needs to do, have control, show that electricity, show that dynamic arm that he has, and do it in a way that's efficient and get outs. He needs to do that before I get excited about Hayden Birdsong. Some of these other guys, you know, Blade Tidwell, like I said, I think the last time he pitched was against Team USA. We'll see the next time he gets out there. I'm still trying to figure out what exactly I should expect from the rest of the bullpen as the Giants are continuing to try to get healthy. And some of the free agent names that I read off yesterday, maybe the Giants should look at some of them, right? Maybe a former starter. Are you willing to come out of the bullpen? This doesn't seem like it's terribly dire, but it's definitely not in a good spot. So they need to figure out where they should, go from here and get things on the right track before opening day is upon us and it's coming quickly, or even after opening day gets going, and just assess where everybody is at. One more segment with you. Could Luis Arraez be the X factor for the Giants? More Locked On Giants coming up. This week's MLB Top 100 highlight is brought to you by MLB The Show, the latest from the beloved video game franchise. Each week, we're highlighting the stars of MLB's Top 100 player list, the elite names you'll be controlling, building around, and going head-to-head with in MLB The Show. Today, we are highlighting the one, the only, the ace of the Giants, number 35, Logan Webb, coming off a Gold Glove, by the way. He's going to be doing his thing in the World Baseball Classic, and we're really excited for him and can't wait to watch him on the biggest stage. Speaking of the World Baseball Classic, the World Baseball Classic is back. Take on actual World Baseball Classic teams from all over the world with your Diamond Dynasty team. MLB The Show 26 let you be the guys that we talk about every single day. Their clutch moments, breakout seasons, and new superstar traits. Are you going to join Logan Webb on your road to the show with the Giants? You can do that only on MLB The Show. This week's MLB Top 100 highlight presented by MLB The Show, where you can play, manage, and build with your favorite players and teams. If you love talking baseball, you'll love playing it even more. Visit MLB The Show/Locked On and use code Locked On to unlock a pack for use in Diamond Dynasty. Pre-order now, available March 17th on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series S and X, and Nintendo Switch. Rated E for everyone. Thank you for making Locked On Giants your first listen of the day, and thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. You already live your team every day. Now take it up a level and go ad-free. Join the Everydayer Club today and get Locked On Giants with no interruptions, members-only Discord access, and more. All for just $5 a month or $50 a year. Go to LockedOnSFGiants@Supercast.com or check the link in the show notes to learn more. If you're a true diehard Giants fan, the Everydayer All-Access tier is built for you. You'll get one-on-one text access with me, all-access episodes, an exclusive newsletter, and a 15% discount to the Locked On merch store. Head to LockedOnSFGiants@Supercast.com to join the Everydayer Club and unlock all access. You can also find a link in the show notes. Last segment with you, and we are discussing Luis Arraez and how he could be the X factor going into 2026. And I know what a lot of you are thinking. Alan, people weren't checking for Luis Arraez. They didn't want him to be a second baseman. He can't field. He can't do this. Look, he is a batting champion. And with a team that doesn't have great bat-to-ball skills, that to me is an X factor. I also think he's going to have a bit of a chip on his shoulder. This is somebody who literally they said, we want your bat, but we don't want your glove, right? We don't want you to be a second baseman. We can throw you at DH, maybe a little bit of first base. And Luis Arraez wants to trust his work, wants to believe in who he can be as a fielder. And the Giants are giving him that opportunity. So I do think he's going to have a level of motivation. This is from Scottsdale as he sat down with Alex Pavlovich. Tony Vitello is a fan of the World Baseball Classic and figures to tune in whenever he gets a breather from his busy Giants schedule. If he happens to catch Venezuela over the next week, he'll be looking for something very specific. Vitello noticed recently that second baseman Luis Arraez has made noticeable strides when attempting to start a double play on balls to his left. It has been one of the many intricacies that Arraez has been working on during daily work with infield instructor Ron Washington, and Vitello is curious if that carries over into games. It's just improvement and drastic improvement on one particular play, Vitello said. It looked completely different than it did in a 3-day window. Let me just stop here. I know this is an X Factor conversation, but this is kind of wild to be saying about your starting second baseman. Am I tripping? Like, this is kind of crazy to be saying about your starting second baseman in the major leagues, who you just paid to play second. That just threw me for a loop. I got to be completely honest with you. But let's continue. What Vitello saw with the improved footwork and adjustment to the way Arraez feeds Willy Adames is exactly what the Giants anticipated when they hired Ron Washington, known as one of the best to ever coach infielders. It's also what they expected when they signed Arraez to a one-year deal late in the offseason. The Giants are confident that Arraez will be just fine at second, despite what the defensive metrics have said in recent years. Arraez is so confident in his own ability to improve that he turned down multi-year offers elsewhere to play in San Francisco. After watching him primarily play first base and DH for the Padres, their pitch was simple. You can play your favorite position. When I signed with Minnesota, I signed as a shortstop, and then my first year as a pro, that was my base, Arraez said of second base on Thursday's Giants Talk podcast. Now I've got a big opportunity to come here and play second and try to go out and enjoy it. San Francisco gave me a big opportunity, so I need to go out there and enjoy it. Arraez has been an easy fit in the clubhouse, and the staff have been impressed by how much he has worked to get on the field and make gains defensively. If the improvements show once the season starts, Arraez will be an everyday player and a key piece for a lineup. Well, hold on. He's got to be an everyday player. Like, that's definitely going to be what the situation is, right? I mean, oh my goodness, this segment isn't necessarily going as I had planned because, I guess that's what an X factor is. An X factor could be good or bad, but we're going to take it in the good direction. Now, Pavs goes on to write, a key piece in the lineup on paper, at least, is as deep as it's been in years. Yes, I agree with that. Then he gets into the offensive side of things. The Giants turn to Arraez after becoming frustrated with trade discussions, primarily with the Cardinals, who sent Brendan Donovan to the Mariners. They believe Arraez's glove will be better. But last year, there were also some questions about the other side. Arraez at 292 and had the lowest strikeout rate since Tony Gwynn, but he was bottom 10 in walk rate and slugged 392. All right. The offensive numbers have dropped significantly since Arraez's 2022-2023 peak, but there's a reason to believe the 28-year-old will be a bigger threat this season. Arraez was carted off the field last April after a collision with Astros infielder Mauricio Dubon. There's a name drop, forever Giant. He returned to the field 9 days later, but says now that he never quite felt the same after that. Way different, way different. I didn't feel 100%, Arraez said. It's not an excuse, but last year I felt a little bit weird because of a lot of headaches, a lot of dizziness. That's not good. So basically, again, not a doctor, but that seems concussion adjacent. So we're going to get a healthy Arraez, and I think that's going to be a huge, huge get for the Giants. And Hunter Menz says, the hitting coach for the Giants, I believe that his best attribute is being able to drive in runs, new hitting coach said. He gets a lot of hits, and being able to score guys from third base with 2 outs or score guys from second base with 2 outs oftentimes requires a hit. I just want him in those situations. I don't know what the rest of the lineup around him kind of looks like, but I want him in those situations, in those spots, as many times as we can get it. Okay, and last but not least, Arraez says, baseball is changing. A lot of hitters just want to hit home runs. That's not my game. If I change my game, maybe I'll be in my house watching other people play. I don't want to change anything. I just want to go out there and try to get on base, try to get my hits, and try to play for the team and get them to win. Okay, so he could be an X factor in a positive way. That's where we're going to take it. But there are some question marks. And I do think that he is a really big piece of what the Giants could be in 2026, as far as the lineup is concerned, as far as the glove is concerned, and the defense. I'll put it to you like this, and this is why I was so taken aback when Pav said this. If Luis Arraez is not an everyday player for the Giants, either Casey Schmidt became an all-star or something has gone terribly wrong. That's what I would say. And they didn't give him, a $20 million contract, but they paid him a decent amount of change to hopefully be the batting champion that he was, and hopefully he can return to that quick, fast, and in a hurry. Thank you for watching Locked On Giants. Thank you for listening to Locked On Giants. Be sure to follow me on social media at @_Styles Files, Styles with an I. If you never miss an episode, the Everydayer Club is for you. Get members-only Discord access, and you also get text access with me. Head to Locked On sfgiants at supercast.com to join the club. For those of you on video, we sing to the first ever 24/7 national Locked On Podcast Network YouTube channel. On audio, make sure you make your second listen Locked On MLB. We will talk to you on Monday. Until then, peace.